And welcome back to South Texas Crossfire. This is Attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week right here on KTMB. Thank you, Don Humberto, celebrating 50 years of broadcasting. If you're just joining us or if you're in Laredo, this is week 2. We play 30-minute segments. But if you're joining us right now, I have the distinct pleasure of bringing on Mr. Bill Edwards, the founding partner of the oldest plaintiff law firm in Corpus Christi and also a national practice. This man's admitted to the United States Supreme Court, many of the circuit courts, and has fought for the injured for a very long time. We're very, very honored to have him on. Thanks for staying for the second half.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
Well, the first half, let me tell you, he was unloading the clip. He walks it like he talks it, let me tell you. And we were talking about how people, and I think we used the analogy of the six-pack, you know, as long as you can go to the store and get your six-pack, but, you know, losing individual freedoms, allowing the courthouse doors to close, and voting at the polls, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to get out there and get involved. And I think one of the ways is having this program on. Now, I promised you in the first half, we were just going to be talking about some of the hard problems medical malpractice, tort reform has caused, some of the other problems ever since corporations started becoming living, breathing human beings and having the same rights as us, and all the media campaign to hurt lawyers and make us look bad. But now, this second half, we're going to talk about some of the efforts lawyers like Mr. Edwards are doing to police ourselves, to improve our image, to stop ambulance chasing. So let's jump in feet first. Why have you taken this position? A lot of people will say, it's Bill the Cannibal. What is he doing? He's suing our own kind, you know, and I know it's not the most popular position, but when have you ever taken a popular position?
I like to do what's right.
Yes.
One of the lawyers that I hired out of law school years ago, when he was going out to open his own office, gave me a picture of Sam Houston with his motto on it, which was do right and risk consequences. And
that's right. The story of my life.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because you have sent ripples here in 2008, 2009 in the legal community, and they know you're a great trial lawyer, but they said now he's looking at legal malpractice cases, and even, ladies and gentlemen, the $10 word we'll use out there, disgorgement cases, where if somebody solicited, my understanding is that the lawyer who unethically solicited someone may have to cough back up their fee.
Well, if a contract of employment for a lawyer has been procured or gotten through means that are prohibited either by the rules of the profession or by statute, those contracts are what is called voidable. Means you don't like it, you don't want to, you want to say, okay, King's X, no contract, you can do it. And so what we're doing with these illegally obtained contracts is suing for the folks who paid lawyers a lot of money on an illegal contract. We're saying King's X, that's a void contract. From here on out, we want the money that you took. It's a void contract. You broke the law. Actually, a lot of that conduct is felonious, that it's actually a felony under our law to engage in that contract, that kind of activity.
Well, let's, because this is very serious, and in fact could even constitute criminal behavior on the lawyer's part.
That's what I'm saying. It's a felony, not just a misdemeanor like getting drunk in a public place. It's a felony. You lose your rights, you lose your law license, you lose your ability to vote, you lose your ability to own firearms, all of the things that go with felonious conduct is convicted.
Well, and I remember, you know, and I've only been out about a decade, but, you know, law school, but I remember they made us take that, and I know you're going to probably hear some chuckles out in the audience. They made us take an ethics test, you know, and we want to dispel those myths. It used to be the law and being a lawyer was a very highly respected, and it's a high calling, and I still believe that. And that's why I became a lawyer. But one of the things that they did, and truly, lawyers are one of the most highly policed professions, contrary to popular belief by the insurance companies and big business. But what they said was never solicit a client. It is unethical. You can be disbarred. And if you go out there ambulance chasing and knocking on doors. Now, without getting into specific cases, without the names, I know you told me before we did this, Joe, don't mention names, don't talk about, you know, and I agree, don't talk about litigation that's ongoing or anything. How about some examples of what can constitute that? A lot of people say, well, that's well and good, but if I'm in a car accident or maybe my child's died because of the negligence of somebody, God forbid, hitting them with a car. What constitutes solicitation? And
Well,
does the lawyer directly have to go knock on the door?
No. It's a matter of somebody that you don't know, that you didn't ask to come, showing up on your doorstep, showing up at the funeral home, showing up at the funeral, showing up in the emergency room or in the ICU waiting room, and just cold turkey, without any invitation, start trying to hustle your business, if you will. Now, one of the problems is that, you know, people are used to having car salesmen hustle you, insurance salesmen hustle you, drug salesmen hustle you, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about rules that control the legal profession, which give rise to such things as the attorney-client privilege, the things that occur. Lawyers and clients have a very special relationship and are treated with a very special way in legal matters because of the confidence and the trust that has to exist between client and lawyer. These things that we're talking about erode that. These people who hustle these cases deal with the victims like a butcher deals with the meat in his counter. They're numbers. They're, you know, there's a leg off X dollars. Who wants to have it? You're traded around. If you're dealing with those kind of people, you're traded around like a commodity as opposed to the individual with the personal problems that you have.
Well, and you're right. You know, one of the things that I was talking about was, and if you'll remember the first half, I said, yes, insurance companies and big business and other factions like lawsuit abuse people, those factions, they have really eroded the legal profession and tried to separate lawyers from their clients. But some of it we've done ourselves, and by we meaning some lawyers that are unscrupulous, that have these runners, that have these assistants, that have these investigators, that amount to people that go and run down cases. You know, how involved, and without, again, going into specific cases, specific names, how involved is this system during your investigation and doing these cases, at least for the last year? What have you found out as far as the network or the system that is involved in this ambulance chasing?
Well, on a major scale, it reminds you a lot of the drug cartels with feelers and tentacles out all over the place. I hear of funds being transferred out of the country to people and then back into the country to elected officials, money laundered. One instance I was informed of was a matter of some 38 cases from a plane crash in Russia being hustled in Russia. You know that when that happens, somebody has been bribed in Russia, which is a violation of federal law. If you don't believe me, ask one of our local oil people that is just now getting out of jail for doing that with foreign officials. There's corruption of lawyers, there's corruption of judges, there's corruption of elected officials. People are on the take everywhere.